In 2013, Chicago realized the promise of smart cities with CTOS, a citywide operating system merging big data with surveillance, security, and transit programs. With a few hundred lines of code, hackers were able to hijack its central servers and cripple the entire grid. Many believed the attack would be a killing blow for smart city development. They were wrong. Coordinated from the heart of Silicon Valley, CTOS 2.0 has been implemented across the United States, ushering in the Internet of Things. 6.4 billion connected devices now serve as collection points, mapping and recording our daily routines, making a more secure and more invasive system. But who else is listening?
Most people do not think about Palantir every day. It is not Apple, it is not TikTok, it is not the app you open up when you are bored. But it sits in places that matter: governments, militaries, police departments, hospitals, immigration systems, intelligence work. It's like a pure representation of the company Bloom in Watch Dogs 2. Palantir does not sell you a phone. It sells you a software that helps powerful institutions organize huge amounts of data and make decisions from it. And that is where Watch Dogs 2 starts to feel uncomfortable. Because the game showed a future where private companies do not just make technology, they became part of power itself. In 2024, Palantir received a $4.18 million Pentagon contract for something called the Maven Smart System. Project Maven originally started as a way to analyze drone imagery. That sentence sounds boring, but think what it means. A drone flies over a battlefield, it records footage, that footage becomes data, the data gets labeled, the system learns what to notice, then the system helps soldiers and analysts understand the battlefield faster. War becomes a screen, a map, a feed, a dashboard, a stream of objects, coordinates, people, vehicles, buildings, patterns. And this is where the future starts to feel less like science fiction and more like administration. No robot army, no dramatic evil machine, just footage going into software. Someone watching the dashboard, someone deciding what matters. Someone trusting a system because the system looks clean, fast, and objective. This is the kind of thing Watch Dogs 2 understood well. The scary technology is not always the one that looks scary. Sometimes it looks like a professional interface, a contract, a tool made to help people make better decisions. And then you look at Ukraine. In 2026, Ukraine launched Brave One data room with Palantir. The idea was to use real battlefield data to train and test AI models, especially around drone detection and interception. That is a very modern sentence. Real war, real drones, real footage, real destruction. This is not more distant theory anymore. Ukraine has been fighting a war where ship drones, sensors, software, satellite imagery, and AI tools matter every day. And the more the war continues, the more data exists. The more data exists, the more systems can be trained. The more systems are trained, the more war depends on software. The feedback loop is terrifying. Because once war becomes data, every battlefield becomes useful even after the battle is over. But this is not only about war. In 2018, The Verge reported that New Orleans had worked with Palantir for years on a predictive policing program. The public did not know much about it. Even some city council members reportedly did not know about the program before the reporting came out. The system used data to identify people who might be connected to gun violence, potential suspects, potential victims, people connected through networks. On paper, that sounds like crime prevention, but this is where the problem starts. Because when software starts ranking people by risk, your life can be shaped by things you did not do. Who you know, where you live, who you are connected to, what neighborhood you are from, what old police data says about people around you. You become a profile before even you become a person. That is one of the most Watch Dogs 2 ideas possible. You walk on the street, the system already has a version of you. Maybe the version is wrong, maybe it is incomplete, maybe it is bad, maybe it is based on dirty data, but someone with power may still use it. In 2025, ICA gave Palantir a contract for Immigration OS, a platform reported to help track immigrants, visa overstays, and safe deportations. Again, the language sounds clean. Case management, life cycle process, enforcement prioritizations, real-time visibility. But behind those words are people, families, addresses, biometrics, locations. Then you have Pegasus, the scandal Pegasus. Because if Palantir is your systems, Pegasus is the phone in your pocket. The Pegasus project investigation was based on a leak of more than 50,000 phone numbers selected by clients of NSO Group, journalists, activists, lawyers, politicians, public figures. Forbidden Stories reported that at least 180 journalists were selected as targets. Amnesty reported the phone numbers for at least 14 heads of state, including Emmanuel Macron, appeared as potential targets. People connected to Jamal Khashoggi were also part of the investigation. And Pegasus is terrifying because the phone is already the most intimate object most people own. Your messages are there, your photos, your calls, your location, your camera, microphone, your private conversation, your boring daily habits. In Watch Dogs 2, hacking falls in fun. You press a button, seal some data, open a door, distract a guard. In real life, phone hacking can be political. A journalist's phone, an activist's phone, a lawyer's phone, president's number. The same fantasy mechanic becomes a human rights scandal. That is why the game feels different now. Now let's go back to the game itself, because the game already had this logic. In the LIMP Noddle mission, Marcus discovers that data from Noddle searches is going to Bloom, and Bloom is using it to power Bellwether. That is the whole video in one mission. People search, a company collects, another system predicts, powerful people use the result. The game made it colorful, real life made it boring, and boring is worse, because boring systems do not feel dangerous, they feel normal. Dashboard, a contract, a smart city, a hospital platform, an immigration database, a military AI tool, a spyware company selling to governments. None of this needs to look like a dystopia, it just needs to work. Then I made it faster, and this is where 2026 comes in. AI is not scary here because it can write poems or answer homework. Existing systems faster. The data is already there, the contracts are already there, the phones are already sensors, the camera are already installed, the database already exists, the institutions already want prediction. Then AI arrives and makes the whole thing easier to search, summarize, connect, and act on. In 2026, AI agents are being built to gather context from different systems, follow workflows, use tools, and move tasks forward. That sounds useful, and it is useful. Technology spreads faster because people have a reason to accept it. A better assistant, a better hospital dashboard, a better border system, a better military tool, a better police database, a better company workflow. But when everything becomes better at processing people, they become easier to process. That is the 2026 feeling. Not the Watch Dogs to guess every detail, but that it understood the shape of the future. Collect the data, build the profile, set the prediction, call it safety. Watch Dogs 2 came out as a colorful hacker fantasy. It had jokes, masks, drones, graffiti, fake tech companies, fake smart cities, fake scandals. But the real world caught up in a much quieter way. No dramatic warning screen, no violent extreme in the plane, just contracts, dashboards, phones, data centers, military software, health platforms, AI agents. And people slowly accepting all of it because it looks useful. That is why Watch Dogs 2 feels so... That is why Watch Dogs 2 feels so accurate today. It does not predict 2026 by naming ChatGPT. It predicted 2026 by understanding what modern power would look like. Someone collects the data, someone builds the profile, someone sees the system, someone calls it progress. And most of us only notice when it is already normal.